What is going on, you guys? Welcome to today's video. I have Miley and the R32 pulled out of the barn because today we're working on the Corrado. And look at this thing. The Corrado is just such a good looking car. So I said all the parts showed up today, and now it's time to jump in to the Corrado, get this thing running properly. Let's see how she starts up today. Oh, come on. There she is. So yeah, we're getting all the wrong stuff off of this car for the right stuff, and it's gonna run much better. I mean, it sounds crazy cammed right now. Look at this thing. It actually sounds kind of cool. I mean, it's not right, but it sounds kind of nasty. All right, let's get her out of here. So the Corrado's out. It's fine to start working on this car, and I have a ton of parts of this thing. I was gonna bring them outside, but inside's just easier. Look at this. We have control arms with bushings, ball joints, radiator, valve cover gasket, oil pan gasket, e-brake lines, fill filter. I mean, we have everything we're gonna need. Also, I have just the standard brake line to make my own from the front to the back of the car and knock that out. Brakes, pads, filter, coolant, oil pan drain bolt. We have some NGK, the correct plug wires, new spark plugs, coil pack, brake lines front and rear, oil filter, O2 sensor. I mean, like, we got everything ready to go. So this is gonna be sick. Now, the only pieces I'm still missing is the power steering line that goes from the rack to the reservoir, and also a stock Corrado muffler. But other than that, I think we've got everything needed. So the plan for today, I want to start in the engine bay and get all this taken care of. As you guys heard, the car does not run great right now, mainly because these are the wrong plug wires. These are for a 16 valve ABF, and this is a 202E. So these gotta go. Sparkles will come out, coil pack, the radiator's leaking, to swap that out, and also we got a very leaky valve cover gasket. So get this pulled off, change that, get all this done, and hopefully have a very smooth running car by the end of this. Give you guys one more sound clip of how the Corrado sounds now. That way for later we can go back and compare and see how much better she's running. Obviously it's running very poorly. We're gonna fix that. All right, so this stuff here is our to-do list for today: valve cover gasket, radiator, air filter, coil pack, spark plugs, plug wires, coolant to fill up the system. And then I think while I have some stuff off, like this is off and this stuff is out, we might go through, trim paint this up, because like I can't let it go out like that, you know what I'm saying? It's gotta be freshened up a little bit. So I might go through, clean some of this stuff, maybe wire brush some of this, you know, we gotta get it looking better than this. So something I just noticed about the Corrado platform, which is actually very nice, on the Mark III platform, if you wanna pull the radiator out, the front end has to come off and the radiator comes this way. But on the Corrado, or at least the 2E, the radiator comes this way. So you have the fan shroud that's bolted to the radiator, the hoses here and these little mounts, but everything should come out this way and up, so the front end can stay on. I will say the 2E is not my favorite engine, but when it comes to like serviceability in the front side, I mean, there's all of the room. Now the back side with the manifold being on top of the exhaust manifold, I don't quite like that, but up here, I mean, there's nothing in the way, which is actually pretty nice. All right, coolant is coming out. It's gonna pop out of this one, this little one right here, and that's all the lines to it. There's one plug for the sensor down in the bottom right corner. Then we have this one, and then 4 10s that go from the the fan shroud to the radiator, which I think can stay on until I pull it out. And then we gotta remove this, which is just a couple of Phillips heads. That one, I think this one's broke. I'll try and fix that, and then this one over here. I'm really not sure what's happening here or who did this, but this one in the front is like at an angle like this, and the top is on, but the bottom is completely off and way over here, and this one's like past the entire thing. So I don't know what's happening here, but they're both coming off. So I went ahead and pulled the fan shroud off and pulled the grill out. There's 4 10s that hold this air duct to the radiator. I took those off as well, and now this thing is nice and loose and ready to go. Also, you pop off these little tabs that sit right in here, and one goes to this side and one goes to there. Looking at it now, I think if you do this screw right here, which holds this side, I believe, you can probably pull the radiator out with the intake screws, but I'll just take this, and when I put the new one in, we'll screw it through here, and then it's good to go. So the factory radiator is now out. You can see it was leaking on that bottom corner, and then also over there. And I'm not sure where this car is at, but you can see this, all of this sand, all of that just came out of here. Like, watch this, hold on. Let me set you down and see if you can actually see it coming out of there, because there is a ton. Watch this, listen. Where was this car at? Good grief. The whole sandbox out here. Like, that's ridiculous. So before I go ahead and put anything new back in the engine bay, I'm gonna go through, pull everything out, all the old stuff, and then go through and clean everything, and then we'll put the new stuff back in. So at this point, all of the old stuff minus the old spark plugs have been pulled out. I actually took the drill with this wire brush, and it actually made the head like almost polished. I wish I can get into these smaller spaces back through here, and like on this side I had to pull everything out, like strip the block. But for just a quick clean, that looks much better. The intake manifold nice and shiny. I went through just cleaned as much as I possibly could. I'm gonna go through, paint the fan shroud here, and then also paint the valve cover before we put on the new gasket, throw everything back in the car. But it's looking good. Cleaned all of this, and also down at the bottom there's some rust spots on the subframe down here, so I went through and I sanded it smooth. I'm gonna touch up paint. This section is black, so it's kind of covered up, but for a quick clean, it's looking much better. Now honestly, we want to do everything. We have to pull the engine out and go through, paint the rails, and really clean everything, but for just a quick little job, it's looking pretty good. Once everything's back in, we'll take my engine cleaner, like the shine stuff, and shine up all of this, and it's gonna look really good once it's all back together. All right, so over here we have the valve cover. It's been cleaned, stripped down, and now it's in primer. We're gonna hit it with the very nice acrylic gloss black, which will look really good in the car. But over here, I'm gonna paint this wolf right now, but I am in desperate need of an OEM non-AC 2E fan shroud, because you see this? I didn't notice when I pulled it out because this was the bottom side, and the only thing really holding this together was the fan and the housing itself. But this thing is blown out. There is so much rust in this thing. Like I said, for right now, I'm gonna paint it black so at least covers up the rust, but we need a new one of these ASAP. So if you've got one, I'll get it from you, because yeah, there's not much left. Like I said, that was holding this together. All the structural of this was the fan itself, so goodness. So for now, I'll just paint it, cover it up so it looks better in the bay, but we need a new one of these. I went ahead and pulled the spark plugs out, and they're all about the same. Very, very dark, all pretty much fouled out evenly across the board. But the crazy thing was, normally spark plugs are like torqued down pretty tight. These ones were, I kid you not, all hand tight. I went to go break the first one free and it just spun, and then I used just this, no ratchet, and I spun all the rest of them out. So I'm not sure what put them in, but they were very, very loose, and also they've been there for quite a long time. So new plugs going in, and then we'll do the new plug wires. This thing should run a million times better. Look at that, nice and shiny. Much better. So these are the same Denso Iridium plugs that I put in Miley. Been working good so far, so I figured I'd toss with this car as well. All right, so we ran into our first slight issue. The engine kit plug wires I got, inside of there is far too small to fit over the new spark plugs. It also doesn't fit over the old ones either. Inside of these ones, you can see it's a much larger opening, and it just, you know, snaps right on like so. But these ones, there's no shot getting that inside there. So I think either we'll have to swap the plugs out for the smaller top ones, which I think those should be fine. So I'll send these plug wires back and get ones that are larger inside. I didn't realize there was quite a different inside diameter, but anyway, so not a big deal. I'll just use these ones for right now. The car should still run no problem, and probably much better having a new coil pack and all this stuff cleaned out, but we will need a new set of plug wires. And it's weird because this side plugs into the cap no problem, like everything fits, it's all the same size, but for some reason this side is just much smaller and like no shot, absolutely no shot to get that on there. This stuff here, whoo, looking nice and gloss black, should be dry, and it's about time to go through and disassemble everything back together. You look down here, also went through, cleaned up the front support down there, looking much better. I've got this cleaned up, this cleaned up. I did the block as best I could. I did the intake manifold back there. New valve cover gaskets on, air filters in. She's looking good, just about done. Actually, since I have another 2E right over here, let's see which ones these have. Give it. All right, so this one has the small one as well, with the very small top spark plug. Like I said, I think we can probably just get different ones, the plug wires, and use the plugs I put into that car. But if not, we'll swap. We'll keep the NGK plug wires and swap the spark plugs out for the smaller ones. All right, so as you can see, it's it's dark out. Been a few hours. This whole process took a little bit longer than I expected. Both all the cleaning and the painting, it took longer. But at the end of the day, I am very pleased with the outcome. Look how good this thing looks. Now, of course, to really do the engine bay justice, we have to actually pull the engine out, paint everything, clean it like that. But for what we did today, I think it looks a million times better. Actually, it looks like this. This is pretty much how it was this morning, and now this is where we're at now. And just way, way better, way cleaner. Everything's like all nice and tidy, and I like it. So overall, very productive day. No more coolant leak, no more oil leaking from up here. The car does start up faster than before, but not as fast as it should be. Not like this car. This car starts right up and it's very, very quick. I think it has to do with the fact that these are still, you know, very, very loose. It's enough to run the car, but these aren't right. We either need to swap the spark plugs to the small style like that one and keep the NGK plug wires that I got, or I need to swap out these plug wires to the ones that fit these spark plugs, one or the other. Also, I think the fuel filter in this car has probably never been cleaned or changed, so I think that'll also help make the car run better. But overall, with this being our first day working on the Corrado, I think so far everything's gone very, very smooth. Still lots and lots to do in the car, but we're off to a pretty good start. I'll say though, she idles much, much nicer now. Running pretty smooth. Like I said, it starts up slow sometimes, but it's better than before. Start again and see. Still being kind of weird. There it is. See, like I said, it's not perfect. I think once those spark plug wires are changed, or the spark plugs are changed, and it's just the right pairing, it'll be good to go. But most times it's like how it just started up, smooth and good to go. But no more rotary at least. All right, so we have everybody back into the barn. This will end today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Do not forget to be thankful for every single day. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.